Without further delay, let's welcome Cedra Crenshaw, our next state senator from Joliet.
Thank you, Adam. I'm Cedra Crenshaw. And today we have a great opportunity to determine what kind of state our children will inherit. You know, when my 11-year-old son asks me years from now, "Mom, what did you do to fight for my freedom?" I'll tell him, I tried to be the best wife and mother I could be. And I'll tell him, I advocated for him at school board meetings where I fought dumbed down curriculum and financial mismanagement. But I didn't stop there. I'll tell him about winning my Republican precinct committeeman race so I could be a voice and an example to him. But I didn't stop there. I'll tell him when I learned that my Democrat opponent voted to increase taxes 67%, which would limit my son's future opportunities and decrease his standard of living, I took on that politician and fought the Chicago Democratic machine, which has decimated Illinois. I'm fighting for my son's future. And how many of you are fighting for your children's futures? Americans throughout history have fought for our freedoms, like the men who walked into certain death, who swam and walked forward into the hail of machine gun bullets to storm the beaches on D-Day, and they won. They've done their part. Now it's time for us to do our part. We're Americans and we're winners. Like the great-grandmother who gave me $1,000 to run my first radio ads. And the grandmother who stood out in front of my opponent's office with a sign protesting his challenge to my petitions. And the mother who was 7 months pregnant who went door to door to gather petition signatures so I could get on the ballot. They helped me beat the challenge, we got back on the ballot, and together we won. As the Chicago Tribune editorial page read, "Mom won, machine zero." Ronald Reagan said, "It's a recession when your neighbor loses his job and a depression when you lose your job." Walking door to door, I've met so many Illinoisans, like the certified school counselor who's been looking for a job for 4 years. I also met a Romeoville family who can't pay their bills because the state of Illinois isn't paying its bills. You know, Illinoisans want jobs and economic opportunities, but Illinois is downright hostile to job creators because we have high taxes, high regulations, and excessive fees on the people who create the jobs. We tax jobs, and that's why we have so few. So when Caterpillar announced plans for a new plant, they go to Texas and create 500 jobs. And when Boeing builds their Dreamliner aircraft, they go to South Carolina and create 12,000 new jobs. And I can't blame them. What rational business would want to expand or locate in a state with $130 billion of debt, a $13 billion budget deficit, and $5 billion in unpaid bills? We need to stop the taxation, litigation, and excessive regulation of employers. It costs us jobs. And this is why I'm proud to be a Republican, because our party has the solutions that will renew Illinois. We're the party of Abraham Lincoln, who issued the Emancipation Proclamation and kept our union strong. We're the party of Dr. Martin Luther King, who had the dream that people be judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And we're the party of President Ronald Reagan, who defeated communism. We're the party that limits government to empower people. And this election is about the people of Illinois who hunger for the common sense solution our party is ready to deliver. I may be be just one mom, but you are just one mom and one dad and one grandparent, and together we can take on the machine, the Chicago Democratic machine, which has decimated this state. Together we can pass on freedom to future generations. God bless you, and God bless Illinois.
Cedra Crenshaw, thanks for joining us on the Illinois Channel, and you are one of the Republican Senate hopefuls for the Illinois State Legislature. You're running against A.J. Wilhelmi in the 43rd District, and first of all, thanks for joining us. You're here at the State Fair. Tell us a little bit about who you are and why you decided to run.
I'm a mom. I'm a former accountant and auditor from Bolingbrook. My husband and I have been married for 11 years. We have 3 children. And I'm running because, like a lot of people in our state, I'm simply fed up with the out-of-control spending, the corruption, and just the sheer arrogance coming from our legislators in Springfield. And I'm trying to actually do something about it. Before I entered the race, my opponent was running unopposed, so voters were not able to hold him accountable in November, but now they will be able to.
And you have never run for office before, as I understand it. You said you just jumped in at the last minute. In fact, you had an interesting effort to get on the ballot, and then you were bumped off, and then a judge put you back on. What, if anything, did that experience of trying to get on the ballot tell you?
It told me just how needed new people are in office. I actually was elected precinct committeeman in February, but our election system is broken. The circuit court judge who put me back on the ballot affirmed what my team has been saying all along, that I followed the law in form and in substance, and it is the Illinois election code that actually conflicts with itself by design, so that legitimate candidates can be knocked off the ballot. And this is not good for anyone, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise. Competition is good, whether it's in business or whether it's in politics, and this is one of the very first things that I'll address when I get to Springfield. I want to clarify these laws to make ballot access easier for everyone, including third parties and independents, because competition is good, and we've seen what not having competition has done to our state.
And what about, we won't take all the time now to go into an in-depth interview, but the highlights of some of the things that you would want to accomplish if you're elected?
I definitely support an audit of all of our state spending. I want to open the books in Illinois. I know that an audit of Medicaid spending was recently passed, but we need to audit the other 75% of the state spending as well, to root out the waste and the corruption and the mismanagement. And I know this is something that politicians say all the time, but we're at such a critical mass in Illinois. It needs to be done, and this is something I would definitely champion, as well as term limits. We need to limit the influence of machine politicians. Again, we've seen what having a handful of people running our state has done. We're literally bankrupt. And also I'd like to tackle taxation, litigation, and regulation as it relates to business. We need jobs in this state, and we're not going to do it with tax sweeteners. We can't bribe companies enough to locate in this state or to expand. We need to create a more favorable overall environment for job creation. So those are the things I want to tackle.
All right, well, Cedra Crenshaw, thanks for joining.